what's going on, guys? It's Alex here. It's been quite a minute since I've been on here, huh? I do apologize for some of you guys that have been wanting new content, but I'm here and I'm back. It's been a crazy, not season, but I guess it's been a crazy year filming, and I'm not gonna complain. It was very busy. It was back to back, and again, no complaints because it was all blessings all the way through from beginning to the end of the year, which I truly appreciate. There's one thing that I realized this year that I was like, okay, I need to change something, and that was sitting down. So I scoured the internet, more like Amazon, and I was like, you know what? I wonder what's a good sit down table, I guess base, because I already had a 6-foot butcher block and then a 4-foot butcher block for my office work, right? And so I was like, okay, I just need the base. That's all I need. I like the table. I like the width and the length of it. I have no problems with it. So scoured the Amazon, and I came across one. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, so I do apologize in advance if I didn't say it right, but I think it's Huanuo. It's like, let me see real quick, hold on. It is spelled Huanuo. Huanuo. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, but if I got close, just let me know, I'm not into the whole pronunciation thing, but I'm pretty good at doing them. So I ordered the base, got it a couple days later, and you know what, instead of like just showing you the base first, let's show you what I went through first. That way, in case you're kind of like on the fence or you're actually looking for one yourself, you have an idea what you're up against, okay? All right, so let's get into it. So the very first thing that I had to do was clean out my office again. I mean, how many times have we had to clean up our offices, right? A lot. It's like a never-ending cycle. So what I did first is I emptied out the office, for the most part, and I didn't really want to move anything, so I just kept it as is. So I cleaned off both of my desktops, the 4-foot one and the 6-foot one, and I just went on from there. Then I had to vacuum around the table to get all the junk out of there. Then I went into moving the butcher block out of there, my current desk, so that way I can make room for the new one and also have space to assemble it. Now that I took out the table and I moved out the butcher block, it was pretty easy from here to start assembling. I had enough space, so it wasn't a problem. First, I started by unboxing everything and laying out all the pieces so I can make sure I know what I'm doing. All right, now that all the pieces were on the floor, it was pretty simple. All I had to do was take out the original base stands for my table. Typically, like every other guy, I don't really want to read the manual, but hey, we gotta read the manual, right? So typically, like any other guy, I don't want to read the manual. I feel like I can do it. It's pretty simple, but we're just being guys, right? I don't know if anybody else is like that, but that's just me. So anyhow, I opened up the manual this time around just so I could make sure that I knew what I was doing, but everything seemed pretty self-explanatory, and it really was. So we started off by assembling the base stands. We're pretty much creating the T at this moment. That way we have a base for the bottom of the table. And then I had to assemble the bottom of the legs. And next up was me assembling what the desk was gonna sit on. Now that I had the base and legs set up, all I had to do was figure out how far I wanted these legs spaced out apart from each other to where it wouldn't wobble on me. And this little piece right here was pretty tedious because I had to be exact, because if not, I'm gonna end up having a wobbly table, and that's not something that I wanted to deal with. After I made sure that the measurements were good, I realized one thing, and this is why I read manuals. And this is why you gotta pay attention. I mean, these instructions weren't like IKEA where they just like give you a little stick figure and tell you, hey, this is where the arrow goes and all, right? It doesn't sound like that. These are pretty self-explanatory instructions. Yeah, I failed to get to see one detail, and here it is. I realized I made a mistake. When I was building the desk, I didn't pay attention to one piece, and it kind of screwed me over. So these pieces right here that kind of make the T, right? This was flipped up here, the lip. The lip needed to go on the bottom, and I had it sitting at the top. And that's what threw me off when I was trying to connect this piece. So I had to make that fix. Damn, it's all right, not losing any time. All right, so now that I fixed that little mistake of mine, I had to go in there now and set up the T-bar again, and I Placed both screws right there on one side, and then I had to go do it to the opposite side. Now it comes down to drilling. Drilled all 4 screws on both sides. And then we finish off by tightening the T-bar just so we can make sure that we have it exactly where we want it. Once you do, you're all pretty much all set. All right, next up is another little bar. Pretty much what this was is the little rotator for the legs to go up and down. And this part wasn't too bad either. All I had to do is just insert it and extend it to the length that you required it for, and then tighten the little knob. So now that I put all those pieces together and I plugged in the motor for the sit-down base, all I had to do was lift up or put the table upright again. And I had to rearrange my office I had to move some things around in my office so I can put the desk exactly where I wanted it to be. So what I decided to do here is put the old legs on the longer butcher block onto the smaller one. And then I just set my IKEA alley shore underneath it. And I just had to make sure it wasn't gonna wobble on both sides, so I had to readjust the legs on the bottom. And then now I apply all my office stuff right on there. And then we move on to my actual workspace from home. And before all that, I had to set up the cable management tray. The cable management tray was pretty easy. All you gotta do is just fold it into the pieces that you'd like, and then set it in the space that you'd want to put it in. And you have to drill 4 holes for this bad boy. It doesn't matter where. I ended up choosing to put them on the outside. That way it's more supportive. So after I installed the tray, I ran the cable motor right over to the other side and just tested to make sure that it goes up and down, and it looks like it does. And it came with some stickies where I can manage the cables. That way I don't have to see them dangling down. So I ended up putting that there. So now that I showed you the whole process, I'm telling you it was pretty self-explanatory, very seamless, except for that one hiccup. But now it's time to show you the reveal. Let's hit it with that B-roll. So now comes the review. Do I like it? Do I not like it? You know what? I'm not gonna be one of those YouTubers that's like, I really like this, but no. That's not one of these. This is, do I like it or no? I do like it. I think the one cool thing about this sit-down desk in particular, and I'm sure all of them have this, is that you can modify your height and set them based on whatever option you want here. All you gotta do is just adjust to your height, press and hold the button. You'll see the H come up. That's height 1 right there. So if I wanted to stand, I would set it for 40, etc., and then set it up for the height that I wanted, which I already do. And it's up to 38, but I'm not gonna let it do that. I'm just gonna let it come right back to number 1. And there you go. I did have the option to install like a little plate for my headphones, but I don't want it. I don't really feel like it's necessary. Besides, I wouldn't really have a spot to put it at. I mean, I could put it over here on my side table and access it through there, but there are times when I need to swing that way. I don't want to just like run into my headphones, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. If at any point I decide to rearrange my desk and I feel like there's a spot for it, then I will do that. The motors for up and down, very smooth, very seamless. It's not loud at all. It just feels like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just kind of like you're moving something electrical, right? Like a scooter, but less noise. I guess that's not really a fair comparison. All I'm trying to say is that it's really quiet. It's not loud. You don't hear any gears grinding. It's pretty subtle. There's no complaints about it. I'm not gonna give you a decibel test because it's not necessary. If it's something bugged me out loud and you heard gears grinding, that'd be something different, but you don't. So if you're really one of those people that are like, oh my God, I really want to know how loud it is. If you really are one of those, I'll give you a little test, okay? Here it is. I'm gonna put the camera right down here so that way you can kind of listen to it and then you let me know, okay? So that just goes to show my point. One thing I did forget to mention, guys, is this video was not sponsored by Huanuo, the company that I bought this from. I bought this thing with my own money from Amazon. So before anybody thinks, oh my God, he's sponsored. No, 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 no. This isn't one of those either. I wish, but it is what it is. It's something that I needed. And you know, starting with the new year, I was like, I need to stand up more, because sitting down all day, I get lost in my editing sometimes and I just forget to stand. And sometimes like my watch goes off and it says, time to move. And I just simply ignore it. But with this, now I can actually stand for a while, stretch out my legs and everything, and I don't have to worry about anything. That's pretty much another bonus. So that's pretty much one of my resolutions this year, is to get up, move around a lot more, rather than just be sitting down editing all day constantly for countless of hours. So if that's something that you can relate to and you really like how I set up everything, you know, let me know in the comments below. I really like to see your guys' feedback on this. But again, if you have any questions for me about anything that I use, any gear, please let me know. See you guys in the next one.